Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I am on a financial freedom journey with my family. I share all about that and more on this channel. Today we're going to be going over our January budget. What? 2023 is right around the corner. I can't believe it. I'm so excited for January. I love a fresh start and I feel like this year has been super crazy for our family and I'm just looking so forward to a new year, new start, new goals, all of the new things. So let's go ahead and get started for our January budget. I did want to mention that I am estimating our W-2 income to be the same. It might change a little bit because I'm not sure if I'm going to be getting a raise. That might happen. I haven't been told yet, so I'm not sure. And then also some of our benefits did change a little bit. So because of like the pre-tax stuff, I don't know exactly how much that's going to wash out to be in our checks. So I'm just going to guesstimate the same that I did last month, and then we will adjust it in our January budget closeout. That's kind of how I handle these things usually for the new year, because we usually do have some changes. You know, benefits typically are changing every single year with the increases, unfortunately. So our health insurance did go up about 8%, which was kind of shocking, but all is well. We will figure it out, but it is also pre-tax, so some of that money will kind of wash out with the pre-tax. So again, we're guesstimating. That's always how I handle our budget anyways. We always are guesstimating our income and then we always adjust it in our recap. So stay tuned for that at the probably beginning of February. So for our W-2 income, again, I'm going to guesstimate at $7,200, which is what we've been using for a few months now. My husband's income should not be changing at all. Mine is the one that might be changing. So I will definitely let you guys know what happens with that. But again, we don't know yet until I really get my check. So kind of frustrating not to know what's happening, but we will figure it out. So let's go into our fixed expenses. So mostly these don't change. So our mortgage, this will be for February 1st. We budget $2,100. So we are actually paying a little bit extra on our mortgage right now. Our mortgage amount is actually like $2,049.94. So we rounded up to $2,100 just to have a nice even number and to be able to pay like an extra $49 to principal. That's great. I love that. So next up would be our cell phones, but we actually did both switch to Mint Mobile. So we don't have cell phones in this budget. I did want to just mention that though, because I'm sure I'm going to get questions about it. Why don't you have cell phones in your budget? But that is why. If you guys want to sign up for Mint Mobile, I believe they still have their Black Friday sale going on. I think it was supposed to go through the entire month of December. So I will leave a link in the bio in the pinned comment if you guys want to check out Mint. So that is what we're doing for cell phones. So we don't have that in our budget, which is awesome. So we have Netflix, which we did downgrade to the ad plan. So that is $8 a month. We used to pay closer to $16, but we decided that we didn't mind watching ads, and we really don't. It does not bother me. I know some people are like very anti-ads, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me. So, and I would rather save the $8 a month, to be honest. So that is what we decided to do. So that is $8. Then we have our Peloton bike. We pay $45 for the monthly plan. We own the bike outright. We bought it years ago at this point, but we do have to pay the monthly fee of $45. Then we have our internet. So that is the same as it usually is at $60. Then we have giving. So we do a monthly donation to St. Jude in the amount of $100. Then we also have my daughter's preschool, and that comes out weekly. So I don't typically write it out, but it technically comes out every single week. So that's why I write it like that. It is $832 for the entire month. And then lastly, we have our electric, which I am budgeting $250 for because it's the winter time. You know, this is for December for the electric, so it's typically pretty cold here in the month of December, and it has been pretty cold here. So I am anticipating it'll be a little bit higher. So I'm budgeting $250 just because I'm hoping that'll be enough. I know electric and gas prices have also been going up, I've heard. So I am hoping it's not too much more than that, but hopefully it's under that. So our total fixed expenses for the month of January should be about $3,395. And that leaves us with a remaining to budget of $3,805. So next we're gonna move up to our variable expenses. So the first one we have is our spending. So my husband and I both get personal spending money, and that's just the way that we do things. We both like having our own money, and just we can spend it on whatever we want. We don't track it. I don't track mine at all. I just use my little debit card that I have. So we both just have our own personal checking accounts that our personal spending money gets deposited in, and then we can just use it or save it or do whatever we want. I typically have some rollover every month because I just don't use mine very often. So I typically have rollover, and then if I want to buy something that's bigger or more expensive, I have the money in there. Next up for our variable expenses is gas. So this is gas for our cars. We're budgeting $175 for this. Then we have our groceries. So we are gonna keep with the $800 budget. That's been working out pretty well for us. We did raise it. I feel like we raised it 2 or 3 times this year, at least. But yeah, it's just been really expensive for us. And we also added another person into our family, and he eats now. So we have to account for him as well. Then we have our family fund budget. So this is just like some extra money that we have for any expenses for our kids or anything fun that we want to do. This just is another category that we have that we can pull from for things like that, so that we can say yes to more things, because I feel like earlier in our budget journey, it was hard for us to say yes to things. Like if we had like a spontaneous friend that wanted to go do dinner or a movie or something, and it was kind of like, oh, like that's really gonna bust our budget, but this makes it more possible for us to say yes to things like that and not feel guilty that we're spending that money. So then we have our miscellaneous. So this is just whatever else we didn't budget for. We typically use pretty much all of this because there's always seems to be things that pop up, especially as our family has grown. I feel like when it was just my husband and I, we did not have many things popping up, but ever since we've had kids, you know, kids are expensive, okay? They've always got little parties at school and like bringing birthday gifts for people and all that stuff. Then we have our dining out, and this is $250. We've been leaving that, and that's been working out pretty well for us. We've been doing pretty good. I'm hoping, you know, January is a new year. We're trying to be better about food. We're trying to be losing weight. We're trying to be good and healthy. So I'm hoping that we won't use all that money. But I say that with a grin on my face because I know that's probably not going to happen. But you know, it's a new year. So $1,725 is what is going for our variable expenses, and that leaves us with a remaining of $2,080. So we are starting over with sinking funds for this year. I'm really excited to be funding these again. We did take a little bit of a break for a couple of months at the end of this year, just so that we could just refocus on financial goals for the end of this year. And then hopefully in January, we will be starting and contributing again. So our sinking fund categories are car, home, Christmas, kids, and vacation. So we are hopefully going to be taking a vacation in March. I'm not exactly sure about that yet, but we are hoping to beef that sinking fund up a little bit from what it is currently at. And then also I did want to mention we have 2 expenses in the month of January that are like extra expenses that we don't typically have. One of them is our car insurance. So that actually comes out of our car sinking fund. I used to just put it in our budget, but I decided I wanted to start using this car sinking fund for our car insurance. So we are actually going to be putting $150 into our car sinking fund in anticipation that we're going to be needing to spend more money out of that with the car insurance. So that will come out of our sinking fund for the month of January. And then we also have my youngest son's birthday in January. So that will actually be coming out of our kids sinking fund. So we're going to put $100 into this kids sinking fund this month, just in anticipation that we're going to be spending, you know, probably $200 to $300 for his birthday. And that includes his birthday party. We don't do very big birthday parties. It's basically just immediate family, usually like my parents and a few other family members come, and it's really low key, and we don't do a lot of gifts for our birthdays either. So it is pretty laid back. So that is the plan for those 2 events for the month of January. I just wanted to mention those because they're not like in our regular budget, but they're coming out of these sinking funds. And the way that we handle sinking funds is we have a credit card that is specifically dedicated only to sinking fund expenses. So that credit card, my husband knows, the only time we use that is when we're pulling from sinking funds, and we pay it off from our savings account that is linked with these sinking funds. So that's just the way that I keep it separate in my mind. So when our car insurance comes due, we will pay it with that credit card. Then I will immediately pay it off with our savings account to account for that sinking fund spending. And then same with my son's birthday. Any expenses that are related to his birthday that I want to pull from that sinking fund, we will use that credit card. I will immediately pay it off with this kid's sinking fund. So that's just the way that we handle things. It's easier that way for me to have a dedicated credit card. And then we also have another credit card that we use for like all of our daily expenses. And I keep them separate intentionally so that nothing's getting like muddied together. That's just how it works for me. So that is how we have just decided to do things with sinking funds. I feel like it's easier for me to do that than like to add, because I know a lot of people, and I've gotten this comment a lot, like, why don't you add it as income and then spend it? But like, to me, that doesn't make sense in my head. So budgeting is so personal, you guys, and I never want you to feel like when I show you my budget that you guys need to do things anywhere near how I do them. I just share for my sake, for your sake, so that you can see how another budget works, because I personally love watching how other people budget, even if it's different than myself. So that's just the way that we do things. Then our financial goals. So as you guys have probably known if you've been on my channel for any amount of time, I'm skipping ahead. I'm so sorry. My brain is so foggy today. So that leaves our sinking funds, let's see, our sinking fund total at $700, and that leaves our remaining at $1,380. And then moving down to financial goals. So if you guys are new to my channel, we do Debt-Free Friday every single week. That's where we put money towards our financial goals. So that is where I pull this money for every single week. So we have $1,380 that we are planning to be putting towards our financial goals in the month of January. So I do usually just split that up on a weekly basis. So this will be cut into 4. And then any side hustle income that we have also gets added to that amount. And that is how we come to our amounts for Debt-Free Friday. So I will be sharing our 2023 goals. I don't have them finalized quite yet. I will be posting that video soon. So stay tuned for the 2023 goals video, where you will find out what we're going to be working on for this goal amount, but I'm really excited to share that video. All right, that is all I have for you guys for our January budget. Let me know in the comments down below, how are you enjoying Debt-Free December? I hope you guys have been enjoying the extra videos, and let me know if you guys have budgeted for January yet. If you haven't, now is the time to start, you guys. If you have not been budgeting, January is the perfect month to start. It's a fresh start, a new year. I highly recommend that you guys get on a budget. And even if it looks different than mine, even if you have way different expenses, that's okay too. Nothing that I show has to be how you do things if you handle things completely separate. Do you. I'm so happy for you. As long as you are working towards making your financial situation better, I think that is awesome. And we can all do things differently and still get to the same place. So I will talk to you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.